Welcome, everybody. John Zager. How is everyone? It's a beautiful, hot, very hot summer day in Colorado. Out here on the eastern slope, I guess is the best way to describe it. Last I looked, it was 96, but I think it's been getting up to around 101, 102, 103, something like that. And it's been staying hot, until well after midnight. And I've been kind of paying attention, and it's not until around 2 o'clock in the morning it's cooling off enough to sleep, without an air conditioner. So, beautiful summer, just hot, and that's the way that works. Anyway, it's Sunday. Hope everybody's doing fine, having a good day, having a good weekend. Kind of wanted to talk today about blocks. We have energy centers, right? 7 chakras. Lower 3, upper 4. The lower 3 uses up energy, obviously, and the upper 4 give out energy. Probably not going to go through all the different chakras and energy centers, and I'm kind of hoping that you guys have that understanding already, and I'm sure you do. So I'm just going to talk as if, we're all on the same page. And so blocks into energy centers. Here's the diagram that I want to talk about. Let's say, for instance, you're living in lack. It could be any kind of lack. Use the obvious one, money, right? And what's the other example that I use all the time? You're living in the back of your truck. Those are the examples that I seem to use, and you're homeless. And you don't have a career anymore. You don't have a job. The Walmarts and the Home Depots, I don't consider jobs, and they pay minimum wage, and they're there to take advantage of you for their benefit, right? And we've talked about this before. They kind of pretty much abuse you, emotionally, and just the way they talk down to you, and you're a nobody and they're a somebody. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about box stores that, if it were me, I wouldn't even want them running in business. I'd go back to the old model where we had mom and pop shops and we were supporting people that way. I don't know. We didn't know we were paying a couple pennies more, but who cared? It was a better world. So, you have this person who's living in lack, and they're going nowhere. And what we talk about is, blocks that they're having to prohibit them from moving on to better situations. Abundance. And what we've come up with in the not too distant future is that, it's the belief systems that we have. we're hanging on to the wrong belief systems that are not even our belief systems. And they were given to us, and we bought them, and we carry them around, and we use them all the time in situations, and they do us no good, right? Well, there's other blocks in the energy centers that prohibit everything, all of your energy centers from being congruent, in line, and able to produce energy and good vibrations at a level that keeps you unblocked and not living in lack. Okay? So, you have your belief systems over here, which we've already talked about as blocks. And then you go over here to your energy centers. And I got ice cold coffee with lots of ice in a thermos mug. And I think I put a lime in here. It's delicious, you guys. So anyway, you go to your energy centers, and this is maybe another podcast at a different time, but you start off with the lower root chakra, sacral chakra, and your solar plex chakra. And you just kind of wander your way on up and see which one's blocked. There's heart, throat, third eye, and on up. And you keep doing that work in meditation, trying to identify which one's blocked. All right? So it's usually one of the lower three that are blocked. And they directly impact, physical health with the surrounding area. Sacral chakra would be, female stuff for female. I don't know, prostate, genitals, things like that for guys. And if you're having some difficulties, there's lists. You just go on the internet, look up, first energy center, second or third, and look for what are some of the common blocks that might give you an indication the flow of energy is not coming through. And when you go through that list, hopefully it'll trigger something from your past. So, what you have going on there, and I'm just taking a shot in the dark here, maybe something that was going on with, let's say, a parent or parents or whatever. Maybe there were some issues around safety and security. Maybe there were some issues around sexuality and intimacy, identity. So where you find the block at, you want to do the same thing that you did with the belief system. And go back in time, probably to when you were a little guy or a little gal, and you can recall a time, hopefully a first time, that issue occurred. By you watching it being acted out, or modeled or spoken, you are able to see where that first happened for you, right? And then what happens, it's not like that's going to stick with you your whole life and it's not going to ever go away. But you may want to move forward in your life and see how often you revert back to that. We're going to call it a block. You revert back to that block as a means to dealing with certain issues that come up in your life over and over again, right? Okay, so that's pretty easy to understand. And then you have a choice. Now you have a pattern, right? You have a pattern. You've gone through the belief systems and you found maybe some patterns there and where they started at and how they got started and what you did or didn't do to them since they're still going on today. Why they're being unproductive for you and causing a blockage in your movement going forward and progressing and being successful and happy and all that good stuff in your life. Right? So that's what you want to do with these blocks from the energy centers. And you want to practice once you identified where the block is. Let's say it's, I don't know, I'm just going to guess, second energy center. And then you want to work on that, on the internet, in the internet, listen to the internet. And there's a ton of people, some good, some just terrible, but figure that out on your own, on how to unblock that energy center. So it may be, going back through where it started at and understanding the dynamics behind it. And then, of course, understanding that that's certainly not going to be productive for you. It's not going to produce prosperity or abundance, but keep you stuck in lack. Right? And keep doing the different techniques. Figure out which techniques work best for you. Try a couple. And over the course of, a month, 30 days, thereabouts, you should be able to get that energy center unblocked or loosened up or able to allow some of the fluids to move through and on up through all of the energy centers, thus producing the continuity, the coherence, the communication between your heart and your brain. Things become centered now. Flow becomes more easily obtained. And when that all happens, then the likelihood of you being sick is almost like nil. As long as there's blockages in your energy centers somewhere, your likelihood to acquire disease or disease to come and find you, seek you out. Does that make sense? So doing the work, Dr. Joe gets pretty opinionated about that. And he's pretty insistent on people doing the work. Don't come to him, He's getting more bold with the way he says it, but don't come to him and tell him you're having problems if you haven't been doing the work. Don't come to him and ask him, which meditation works best for ingrown toenails. He doesn't want to hear it. Go do the work. Quit asking all the questions. So, my takeaway from today is pretty simple. We always look at the belief systems, number one, as the incongruence and reason our lives are not going well, and why it seems like we're always trying to override the belief system to fit into our desired states. And that's just solid stuff, good stuff. But I wanted to give to you guys today an equally important takeaway that our energy centers can be blocked, and that can cause the incongruence, and that can stop the fluid and the energy flowing from your root chakra up through the crown, and in turn you're out of balance, and your life may, I guess we're using the word lack, your life may end up stuck in lack. And you wonder how come you never get any further. That's the takeaway for today. 2 important areas that we need to look at. We need to look at them both. We need to look at them both. Maybe work on that today a little bit and see where that goes. Process it, let it internalize, digest it. Go back and look at your blocks, where you first became aware of that particular block. Look at your history, your pattern of how often you would use that same block. Maybe it's a behavior of someone, a parent or guardian or somebody adult that was narcissism. And in turn, that's going to leave the child with a lot of very ugly and uncomfortable choices in life on how to succeed, and most of the time it results in the child becoming narcissistic, self-centered, and that can disrupt and block all kinds of relationships, progress, success, work, economics, family, in turn money. And it just has a whole ugly sort of progression. And it does create that block. And that block may very well come up in your second energy center. And being able to go back and correct that could make your life a whole lot better. So, just real briefly, one of the ways to stop that from occurring, I don't know, we used narcissism, we'll just use narcissism again, is that you find yourself being extremely uncomfortable maybe angry, bitter, hostile toward people that are narcissistic, that the world centers around them, that they're better than you, and they like to test that theory out. And I would suppose get some pleasure in seeing your discomfort. And for a while, you probably, it might be the kind of thing where a narcissistic driver upsets you and, you're not aware of how to deal with it. It's a block in your energy center and, you flip the guy off or you become another statistic in road rage. As opposed to saying to yourself, after identifying it, going back to where it started, seeing your pattern and seeing where you bring, the block up every time, narcissism, that maybe it's okay to just say to yourself when that person drives in front of you or does something to upset you on the road, I'm fairly certain there's a lot of pain in that person, or there's the potential for pain to occur with that individual in the future. And it's not for me to get upset with him, but to have some compassion for if he hasn't gone through any discomfort yet, the likelihood he probably will. So to be able to turn stuff around like that, it's just an example. I just picked narcissism. But, it can produce a block. If you grow up in a narcissistic family, you're probably going to have a block in an energy center somewhere. Lord forbid you're going to have all kinds of wrong belief systems. So, look at both sides. Take them both back to the beginnings and then be able to turn them around and erase the parts that you don't need any longer or that serve you no purpose. And go on to be successful, happy, have joy in your life, abundance, and compassion. And maybe it's a good time to allow the fluids and the energy to go past the second and the third energy centers and lodge in your heart, where it gets energized and shot up into your head, and where all that love abounds. Nothing but abundance, happiness, and good health can result. Anyway, little podcast for today. I think it's pretty good, pretty pertinent. Probably need to go back and talk about that one in more detail. I think that's really important. As a matter of fact, it's really the first time I talked about it, but there's a lot of different aspects associated with what we just talked about. So give that some thought. By all means, track me down. Email me, jzager@gmail.com. Go to my Shopify store and buy something. Will ya? It's a good idea. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. Gosh, I got a bunch of cool stuff. It's not a niche store to where I'm just selling sporting goods, or I'm just selling women's clothing, or mom and daughter clothing, or whatever. It's a store for everybody. It's got something for everybody in there, and it's got really cool stuff, you guys. I got things priced from a few dollars to several $100s. Take your pick. If you can't find what you're looking for, call me up on the phone. Send me an email. Say, John, I need you to get blah, blah, blah in your store. Absolutely not a problem. I'll go out and get it for you immediately that night. So, do that. Consultation. JohnZager.com. It's my website. I do consultation all the time with individuals, groups, workshops, speaking, anything consultation-wise, and just keeping everybody healthy. Call me up, send me an email. Let's talk and process some stuff and get on with your life of being well and happy and healthy. God bless everybody. Take care of one another. And I will look forward to talking to you all again real soon. See you, bye.